Okay, Stan, you've been lecturing about UFOs since 1967. How have your lectures changed since that time? What's changed in ufology and your approach to talking to people about UFOs?
My lectures have changed a bit, I must admit. I use more humor. I've learned how to speak a little better, I guess I could say. I am less fearful of getting somebody mad at me by pointing out the facts.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried at the beginning that somebody's going to jump all over me because they'll know something I don't know and show my arguments are false. It hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've done my homework, is what it boils down to.
Okay.
It's my Miss Cutkin experience. She told the class that the solar system sits still, and I had to say, no, it moves around the center of the galaxy, and she gave me a hard time, so I brought in the encyclopedia the next day.
And what grade was that?
5th.
Oh.
And it taught me a lesson. She grudgingly admitted that maybe I was right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to take on authority, have facts in hand before putting mouth in gear was a big, big, big lesson that I had.
Right.
And I used to have a very good, accurate memory, and I could depend on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting old, it's not as good. But so that I've been able to trust my memory.
Mm-hmm.
That means I can relax
Mm-hmm.
in front of an audience. So I still enjoy speaking.
It's good.
And I think people who hear me realize that I do enjoy speaking. I have fun. If I didn't have fun, I wouldn't be doing it, I guess you can say. So, also, I've tried to link to relatively recent things, which of course didn't exist back then.
Right.
And my attacks, I didn't used to attack SETI.
Mm-hmm.
And now I do every lecture, because they deserve it as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Silly effort to investigate. Many people appreciate that kind of thing. I try not to just recite case after case. Some people think that's the way you talk about flying saucers. I don't. There's a few good ones that make important points, the Hill case and so forth. But I've tried to give a bigger picture than individual cases. So you could say, well, it hasn't changed at all. You talk about facts, data, solid information, so it changes a little with time. But what has changed? I mean, UFOs are still coming here. They're still doing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
People are still being abducted. So you can truthfully say, well, it's not as if the whole business has moved over somewhere, somehow, someplace different. You got to change with the times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
But there have been more scientific studies since you began speaking.
Yeah, the Heinrich's book came out after I began speaking. Congressional hearings were after. Blue Book Special Report 14 was before. That's one of the things that turned me on, as a matter of fact.
But Condon report came after.
The Condon report did come after, and I usually talk about that to some extent. So, not a heck of a lot has changed. The problem is, in an hour or an hour and a half, you can't possibly include everything that's relevant to the questions at hand.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be selective.
Right.
And I am, and why should I change what I select?
I guess one of the big things that came out was the Bollinger memo.
The Bollinger memo is important. I try to bring it out whenever I can. Partly because I think I'm the only one who has actually spoken with him while he was alive.
And he basically said that the good UFO cases don't go into Blue Book.
That's right. And that's a terribly important thing to say.
Especially since, some of the reports and some of the rebuttals is that Blue Book decided there was nothing to it. And yet, if they didn't get the good reports, of what value is Blue Book?
It was a smokescreen. You can't see through it to the other side and see all the nonsense that's out there.
And that's how ufology has changed.